He touched the ball with his hair, and it cost Croatia the World Cup. Not a shoulder, not a knee, not a hand or a foot or any part of the body a football player consciously controls during the chaos of a goal-mouth scramble in the 103rd minute of a match their team was desperately trying to save. A strand of hair. The tip of Igor Matanovich's head grazing the surface of a cross as it flew past him toward his teammate. A contact so faint that Matanovich himself, standing on the pitch, asked the referee whether it had happened at all. A contact invisible to every camera in the building. A contact that no human eye, not in the stadium, not in the television production truck, not at the VAR center, could confirm. But inside the Adidas Trionda match ball, a sensor could. And that sensor ended Croatia's World Cup. What happened at BMO Field in Toronto on Thursday evening is the most extraordinary and the most divisive story this tournament has yet produced, because it is a story in which the technology was almost certainly correct, and in which the outcome still felt, to the millions watching, profoundly, achingly wrong. Let's tell it in full, because this story deserves nothing less. Croatia arrived at the round of 32 as a team that had reached at least the semifinals of the two most recent World Cups, a nation of less than 4 million people that has produced one of the most remarkable runs of sustained excellence in the modern history of the tournament. And at the heart of all of it, for 15 years across 5 World Cups, carrying the weight of an entire footballing nation on his 39-year-old legs, Luka Modric. The greatest midfielder of his generation, the man who made Croatia believe. This was understood by everyone, including Modric himself, to be his final World Cup, his final chance to add a trophy to a career that has produced almost everything else the sport can offer. And against a Portugal side containing Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, and Gonzalo Ramos, Croatia gave everything their footballing soul contained. Ivan Perisic put them ahead in the 53rd minute with a finish that reminded the world why, at 42 years old, he remains one of the most complete wide players his country has ever produced. Croatia deserved the lead. For long stretches of the second half, they were the better team, pressing with urgency, creating with intelligence, defending with the organized tenacity that Zlatko Dalic has made the hallmark of every Croatian side he has managed. And then Cristiano Ronaldo stepped up for a penalty. At 41 years old, in his 25th World Cup appearance, he struck it with the calm of a man who has taken more penalty kicks in more important matches than any player in the history of the sport. It went in, 1-1. And then, in the 4th minute of stoppage time, Gonzalo Ramos headed Portugal into the lead, 2-1. Croatia's dream appeared to be over. But Croatia are not a team that accepts the obvious. They pushed, they pressed, they found from somewhere in their collective exhaustion one final surge. The 103rd minute, Ivan Perisic swung a cross into the penalty area. It flew toward Mario Pasalic. The ball appeared to deflect off Portugal defender Renato Veiga before Pasalic connected with it, and then it broke perfectly to Joško Gvardiol, Manchester City's brilliant defender, who tapped it into the net from close range. The stadium erupted. Croatia's players sprinted toward the corner flag. Modric stood with both arms raised to the sky. And then the earpiece. Referee Espen Eskas was called to the pitch-side monitor, and what he was shown there was not a replay. There was nothing visible enough on a replay to make this decision. What he was shown was a graph, a data readout from the IMU sensor housed inside the match ball. A spike on a digital chart, a heartbeat graphic as FIFA calls it, that appeared at the precise moment the ball passed Matanovich, confirming that his hair had grazed its surface.
Because of that spike, the sequence was reconstructed in reverse. If Matanovich touched the ball before Veiga, then Veiga's subsequent contact was classified not as a deliberate play, but as a deflection. and deflections do not reset an offside trap, which meant Pasalic, who received the ball next, was offside, which meant the goal would not stand. The referee signaled. The goal was disallowed. In the stands, Croatian supporters responded with the only thing left available to them: fury. Water bottles rained onto the pitch from the Croatian sections of the stadium, causing a delay before play could be restarted. Perisic walked to the crowd, arms outstretched, attempting to calm the supporters. The replay of the offside was shown on the giant screens around the stadium, an unprecedented move, interpreted by BBC commentators as an attempt to demonstrate to the Croatian fans exactly why the decision had been made. It did not calm them. FIFA issued a statement within hours. The language was precise, technical, and unambiguous. The connected ball technology housed within the Adidas Trionda, FIFA explained, confirmed that contact was made by Croatia's number 20, Igor Matanovich, in the build-up to the goal. IMU sensors capable of detecting any slight contact confirmed the touch, displayed to viewers as a heartbeat graphic. The decision was correct. And then came the moment that gave the story its most human dimension. Matanovich himself, in a post-match interview that traveled the world, told the truth with a simplicity that stopped the argument cold. "Honestly," he said, "I think I felt a slight contact with my hair. I asked the referee. I wasn't 100% sure if I had touched the ball. He told me that they have a chip in the ball, that there was a slight contact, and that therefore it was offside." He added, "3 goals, offside, a post. I have no words. We were very unlucky today." The player at the center of the controversy was not raging against the technology. He was not calling the decision wrong. He was simply describing, with painful honesty, the experience of a man who grazed a football with his hair in the 103rd minute of a World Cup match and ended his country's tournament without ever quite being certain it had happened. That honesty is what makes this story so complicated, because Matanovich's admission is the strongest possible evidence that the technology worked. If even the player involved believes the contact occurred, the sensor's readout is vindicated. But validation of the technology does not resolve the deeper question the football world has been asking since the moment the graph appeared on the screen. Is this what the offside rule was designed to do? Portugal manager Roberto Martinez defended the call with full conviction. "There is no subjective opinion here," he said. "The chip showed the touch. The technology helps the game." Croatia captain Luka Modric, when asked, remained characteristically dignified, but his skepticism about the broader officiating across the match was clear. Former referee Darren Cann confirmed the decision was technically correct by the letter of the law. Former England captain Alan Shearer noted with blunt honesty that it was, in his view, the right call, however painful. And yet, Peter Schmeichel, watching on Fox, captured what most neutral supporters felt. When you start using technology to detect the touch of a hair, you have to ask whether football is still the same game. Croatia's tournament is over. Modric has played his last World Cup match. A country that made back-to-back semifinals and a final in the space of 4 years has been eliminated not by a goal, not by a penalty miss, not by anything its players could have anticipated or prepared for, but by a sensor detecting the graze of a strand of hair in the 103rd minute of a match its heart had been winning. The technology was right. The letter of the law was applied. And somewhere in Toronto, a player is staring at a graph of a digital spike on a piece of data, the recorded proof that a hair on his head grazed a football, and trying to find the words that Matanovich himself admitted do not exist. It will hurt. He was right about that, too.